So we are going to move to our next panel session, which is going to focus on the impact of AI-driven robotics in manufacturing and order fulfillment. Before we kick off that panel, though, we do want to share with you just a couple of brief background videos on Gather AI and on Shift Robotics, so you have a little bit of understanding of what they're working on.
We have a new, larger account for Barrett that we onboarded about a year ago now. They are a high-end sneaker and apparel company. They're very unique to Barrett in the fact that every single pair of sneakers that we have is serialized and bagged, so we don't know the contents of the box. And the drone has been able to increase our number of counts that we're doing, like 15 to 20% per week. Just to put it into perspective, we have around 450 to 500,000 sneakers and apparel in the warehouse right now, and every single one of those is uniquely serialized and it's his own item number. So as you can imagine, if you do put away wrong or misplace one of those items, it can be like going through a needle through a haystack to find that. And not to mention the value of the product is very high. So we've been able to get 99.95 to 100% LP accuracy most weeks since they've onboarded. And this has helped tremendously with the Gather AI drones. The customer also absolutely loves them. And we were able to implement the drones a couple of months ago for this account. It took a lot of work because there's so many LPs that we have in the system that we had to develop a whole new report to be able to count them live, but it's helped tremendously. And the customer is really happy with it. Their previous provider before Barrett was really poor with inventory. That was one of their main concerns. So it's been able to help us operationally and then also help us on the customer satisfaction side. So that's been great.
Moonwalkers are the world's fastest shoes that allow you to walk at the speed of the run. An average human walks about 3 miles, or probably slightly under 3 miles per hour. With Moonwalkers, you'll be able to go at 7 miles per hour.
Thank you for that. And so now I'd like to welcome our next panel with Dave Mooney, who's going to be hosting our next discussion. Dave, on to you.
Oh, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. I got a big smile on my face every time I see these videos. I think, man, I've got the best job in the world. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Every year, some of the smartest people in the world come to Carnegie Mellon with the idea that they're going to change the world in some meaningful way through robotics. And that's what we have here today with Sankalp Aurora from Gather.ai and Junji Zhang from Shift Robotics and his Moonwalker shoes. Thank you for joining us today, guys. Really exciting technology. Just to get us started, they're both graduates of the graduate programs here at Carnegie Mellon in the Robotics Institute. Can you introduce yourselves and tell us just real quickly a little bit about your company? Sankalp, start with you.
Hi, I'm Sankalp Aurora. Thank you, Dave, for the introduction. Yeah, I'm a co-founder CEO here at Gather AI. Before this, I graduated with my PhD in robotics from Robotics Institute, and a proud graduate of the SWAT Center as well through your programs. And what our company does is automate inventory monitoring and management for warehouses at a speed such that you can know what's happening in your warehouse in real time with a fully digitized view of it, turning facilities from reactive on order shipping to proactive.
Great, thank you. Junji.
Yeah, so hey everybody, my name is Junji Zhang. I also graduated from the Sports Center's garage. So we were actually neighbor to Sankalp's company. So it's very exciting to see him on the panel as well. So at Shift Robotics, we build robotic shoes that allow people to walk at a running speed. So the idea, our mission is to bring everything within a walking distance. By allowing people walking 250% faster with the exactly same walking effort. Currently, our biggest market is in the consumer world, but we have we have received since we launched a Kickstarter a tremendous amount of business interest. So that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Thank you both. Sandkelp, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about who your target market is and what types of customers are using your solution today. We saw Barrett, but I'm sure there's many others.
Yes, we are actually working with some of the leading brand names in the world, especially in the 3PL space. So our target market are usually companies with warehouses somewhere between 100,000 square feet to 1 million square feet, and specifically in retail e-commerce or third-party logistics or air cargo. The common thread that is tying all these three verticals is that you have to now support next day shipping to your customers. And with that e-commerce trends, your inventory monitoring needs have increased significantly. So within these, we have companies like NFI, Geodis. We are serving one of the largest retailers in the world. I can't say their name, but it's the name that you think about when you think about e-commerce. We are also serving Army and Air Force Exchange Services, all of their warehouses in US. And we are serving Denata Air Cargo to actually supply most of the air cargo across the world through their largest terminal in Dubai. And now, as we grow, we are actually partnering with manufacturers. Again, can't share their name, but solving the same problem on manufacturing door units, where we are helping avoid line downs because you're running stock outs in your inventory.
Right. Thank you. Junji, it's been almost a year ago today that Moonwalkers launched with a very successful Kickstarter campaign. Hundreds of millions of video views of your product that are out there. Obviously, the intended first customer was the consumer market, so that you could be close to the consumer and learn how the shoes work and the different patterns that people would use them. But something really interesting happened, right? It wasn't just consumers that were interested. Tell us a little bit about the business interest that came out of your Kickstarter campaign.
100%. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, so during our Kickstarter campaign, obviously most of them are consumers, Kickstarter backers, but we have received a number of companies actually in the retail space, in the world of electronics and automation space. And they actually reach out interested in bulk buying the product. So that got us very interested. And then we started having a conversation. What we're seeing is that potential Moonwalker potential in using manufacturing space in warehouse area where you still have people pushing the trolley, pushing the carts in order to do order fulfillment. There's obviously there is one side of 100 what we've been going through on the panel, fully autonomous order picker fulfillment, but we have also seen there are places where it's still very heavily rely on human pickings and human transporting these unit and product inside the warehouse as well. And we have seen a tremendous amount of interest in you potentially using Moonwalker to get them 3x faster, because after all, we learned that it's 50% of the operation expense is contributed to the travel time by the operators in the warehouse. So that got us very excited. We are working with some of the largest warehouses right now, working with some of the largest furniture company, which we cannot name the company just yet, as well as some of the largest EV companies in the world as well. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you. So back to you, Sandkelp. You had a wide range of types of customers that you had talked about, but tell us a little bit more about how they're using Gather's system and what benefit they're deriving from it.
So the natural benefit that everyone thinks about specifically in this industry is labor. but it's not. People think about it's robots taking jobs. It's not. In this industry specifically, it's 70% attrition rate on warehousing jobs. And if you think about the jobs that we are talking about, it's people climbing on forklifts 30, 40 feet high to take inventory. Given we can do that 15 times faster, people can repurpose what people are doing to more effective things than just going and looking at inventory. So based on labor and the types of savings that we lead into, not just because of people are doing something else, but you know what is in your warehouse, so you can do pick more efficiently. You can do put away more efficiently. We are looking at an ROI of in the orders of magnitudes to $500,000 to $1 million per facility that we go to. Now add to it, I think this was one of my favorite calls of the year, Dave. I've discussed this with you. One of the general managers of the warehouse called me like a couple of quarters ago and said, "Sankal, you saved me $1 million worth of inventory last year because I didn't even know it was in my warehouse. I can't say which one, and I can't tell you how common that pattern is. But then it's finding misplaced inventory and actually catching or minimizing shadow inventory in warehouses. And lastly, and the most important thing is to increase revenue, because your mispick rate goes down when you know what's really in your facility. Hence, you can serve more number of customers with your limited investment that you have. We have had customers that have, especially in food distribution, where first in, first out is important, or packaging, where first in, first out is important, where customers are saving 500K to 700, or rather generating added revenue to 500K to 700K per facility every year, just using these. And all these benefits, they add on to each other in terms of from revenue to savings.
You know, when we had that discussion, Sankalp, about saving $1 million per year per one warehouse, turns out that company has hundreds of warehouses. But even if they only had 50 and they saved $50 million, that's on everybody's radar as a big, deep impact. So great. Junji, you mentioned the 3 times productivity benefit that organizations can get by using these shoes, because you can move 3 times faster throughout the day. But there's some other interesting benefits that we've heard back from customers on at Shift Robotics. Can you share some of them as well?
Yeah, 100%. So interesting, like what Sankalp was saying, labor is a huge component. It's a massive component in the warehouse operation. And the whole industry, like many other industries, is actually suffering labor shortages due to, mostly 2 things. One is, unsatisfied employees. Some people will, quit in the middle of the day because of how intense labor is, and how, just how tough, how tedious the things can be. But at the same time, walking 12, 15 miles a day is definitely no joke. It creates a massive amount of injuries and create a massive amount of, pressures and repetitive stress, repetitive injuries, on your joints as well. So what we have found obviously for employers, that 3x savings is huge for them. But for employees, they love it. They absolutely love it. Like, it was great. Every day I received happy smiles, people smiling, videos of like lots of people, warehouse operators, smiling every day, whether it's pushing the carts or, carrying some of the bulk items on moonwalkers, because that made their life really happy. It was really fun and really happy. And they feel like they're having this superpower anymore that, they used to be. They are walking, they are moving, multiple times, 3 times, faster than they were. So like for them, it's almost turning into a little bit of playground for them. Yeah. So definitely from employee point of view, retention, general happiness, and overall, reduction of repetitive stress is a huge part as well. Yeah.
One quote you shared with me stuck with me. A female employee in a large warehouse situation said, "I used to have the worst job in the company. Now I have the best job in the company."
Best job. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Senkel, tell us a little bit about your revenue model and how that revenue model benefits your customers.
So I think the last panel touched upon this, but this has been the most fascinating part of our journey. Is warehouse automation used to be all about how do you change your warehouse completely, invest massively in infrastructure, invest massively in large robots to automate your facility. And with robots, hardware being commoditized, being democratized, companies like us can charge as a subscription on a subscription basis. So customers don't have to think of our robots as CapEx. In fact, we don't even sell robots. We just charge a subscription, and customers really pay for the data that our robots are gathering. So suddenly it becomes from a massive CapEx to mainly an OpEx expense. And our customers can have ROIs within first 3 months on the investment that they make on the product. It's not about sub-year anymore. It's like within half a year, you can have that ROI on the investment. And how that translates for companies like us is we can operate with SaaS margins. So we can operate with 80% unit gross margins because we don't have to make the hardware and focus everything on what our customers care about, which is providing quality data and quality insights and not fiddling with an immature hardware system. So I think that has been the most pivotal thing in serving our customers is to change their outlook on warehouse automation.
All right. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that, Senkel. Zhanji, if you shift over from the consumer side into the business to business side, these organizations have health and safety as paramount issues. And everybody, for all kinds of great reasons, is really concerned about any new product being introduced into that environment would have the highest standards of quality and highest standards of safety. You're a startup company in the United States, right? A lot of incredible engineers. How do you address that question? What is it about Shift Robotics that allows you to meet those high standards of quality and safety?
Right. So, like any hardware startups, the reason doing hardware is hard is because the manufacturer it's a super hard piece. Doing the hardware from ground up through contract manufacturing is extremely difficult, no matter where you do, actually. But the challenge for us, especially, is to satisfy, especially the consumer space. We have to do that in the area where we can get we can get low cost in the bulk orders. So we're very fortunate, but in a very high qualities as well, because Dave, as you said, if they break, will result in that's potentially could have to injures to people. So we're very fortunate enough to work with a tier 2 automotive suppliers called IKD, who supply parts to the Tesla of the world, General Electric, Ford, who've been get used to producing millions of parts a year in extremely high quantities, extremely high reliabilities and parts. They have the process in place to produce and quality control components that or subsystem modules that in the millions quantities. So we're very fortunate enough to work with them based from their factory capability. But what's more is we're able to leverage, because we are just a small startup in the US. We're fortunate enough to have names on Time magazine or on Wired, but there's most of the companies, contract manufacturers or suppliers have not heard of a name. So we're able to leverage their big names in China to help us talk to a supplier, not only to get really good qualities, from a recommended list of suppliers, but also get very favorable, finance terms, inventories, and et cetera, to help us support, us moving forward, at this early stage. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations on being named a Time Invention of the Year. That's incredible.
Thank you.
I know you're going to CES this year, so if anybody on attendance today wants to come and try the Moonwalker shoes, I know you'll be able to do that at CES. We do have an audience question, and I really encourage audience questions. We're down to our last, say, 5 to 10 minutes. So if you have questions, please put them in there. But this question is, how can the drones from Gather AI or the Moonwalker shoes from Shift open up opportunities for markets that are not yet approached? Sankalp, we'll start with you.
So I'm trying to understand markets that are not yet approached. I think the key, and I'll answer for drones from Gather AI. I think the key thing here, and I think the vision is, it's not about the robots or the drones that we are using, but it's about digitization of the physical world. So you can digitize the physical world at a press of a button as easily as you Google things, or now Chat GPT things maybe. But and get insights on what is moving out there for real, or how is your assets moving, how is your infrastructure, and what is their health, and digitize it at the press of a button, get insights about them, making the physical world searchable. So I think with that vision, drones play a small part in it. But that market of getting real-time insights on how the actual world is moving is massive, and applications are broad. And I think that's the market we are targeting, starting with this laser focus on warehouses, and then broadening from there.
Thank you. Junji, the interesting thing that you and I talk about all the time is, like, every single day someone's approaching us with a new use case. What are some of the craziest use cases you've heard of for Moonwalkers?
So obviously on the consumer side, we've heard, we initially planned for people to use them just for commuting. It turned out exercise was a huge thing. So we haven't seen people using them dog walking, and in fact, we have half of users were actually using Moonwalker as now their daily routines for dog walking. On the business side, we've seen people. So, for example, one of the company we're working with is end-of-line service. They were working with the end-of-line service where they have to drive their vehicles all the way to the parking lot, which is actually as a delivery center. So the interesting user case was that they will drive their the new vehicle to the parking lot and come off from the new vehicle and then move walker back. But we thought initially that was a very well controlled business cases, which you expect. You have a very well controlled road surface. You have very controlled. There's no slope. Really well maintained, environmentally stable, all of that. But it turns out the end of line service in a big old parking lot, and so we actually have the same requirement to go over really bumpy cracks and terrains when they come back. Places, even if you normally walk, the employee could trip from those cracks and bumps. So I'm super happy that Moonwalker was able to help someone from even falling from cracks and bumps in their job as well.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I don't have any other questions from the audience. So I have a final question for you, Sankalp. You obviously have been on an incredible growth trajectory here. Tell us a little bit about that and what's driving that, and how can we as a community help Gather get to the next level?
It's been fascinating because we were sharing a garage right next to Shunji, and I miss being neighbors because that was pretty awesome. And it took us, Dave, from 2018 we spun out to 2021, middle of 2021, to actually get the product to a point where, as my wife calls it, it's not a 90s printer anymore. Every time you press a button, it works and it does what it's supposed to do, and it's at the cutting edge of what's possible. So 2022, we grew our revenue 8x. 23, we'll end up more than doubling our size in 2022 and are growing quite rapidly. The delight of that growth, I think what Shunji points out, is actually coming through customer delight. It is all coming through all the customers that we have deployed at have expanded to multiple facilities within their network. And we are driving those expansions up. And the only thing I think in terms of help, what I would love for the audience, people who are attending, to see these things in action, to see what our systems do in action live, come talk to us, and see Shunji's robotic shoes live, and see the impact that they drive. Because I know there have been a lot of skepticism that these things, like automation doesn't work or needs a lot of investment. Those are old times now. Today, technology has been commoditized enough that you can turn something on in a month and have an ROI within the next 3 months and keep rolling with it. So the only thing I would ask the audience is open up the minds and experience the products that are out there.
Fantastic. We did get another audience question on this one is for Junji. Can Moonwalker shoes give people with walking challenges more mobility options?
Yeah, so certainly right now we are looking at, obviously due to liability legal reasons, we are claiming that moonwalkers are best used for able bodies. Certainly, we've seen a huge percentage, nearly 30% of our customers are senior citizens who are able to walk, but usually cannot walk for long distance because of exhaustion and physical capabilities due to just age. So I would say yes, it can help people with walking capability, but have problems, maybe suffered a little bit with injuries. But we don't have enough research done to actually test on people who has walking disabilities and problems. Yeah, at the moment. Yeah.
Although interestingly, one of the early applications was in rehabilitation of stroke patients. Tell us a little bit about that.
100%. So as of now, we are still working with UPMC's rehab lab to look at how we can actually stimulate both shoes at the same time in a different manner to help with rehabilitations for post-stroke patients. So one of the biggest problem people suffer in terms of quality of living after the stroke surgery is that their stride length, both of their stride lengths are asymmetry, meaning one is walking longer stride than the other. So basically, by going through a series of process and stimulating the slow leg or even or slow down fast leg at different time, will really improve their what we call the learning memories. What we have showed is that's obviously early result is that people who use moonwalkers achieve 10x more learning memories than what they would go on to a split treadmill, which is a status quo right now in the rehab hospitals right now. So that's something we're very excited and continuously working with the UBMC rehab lab at the moment. Yeah.
The use cases are endless. I have a question from the audience for Sandkelp. There's a lot of inventories outside the warehouse. Do you have this motive to expand in this area, and what are the challenges there?
So the answer is yes. Actually, that was the final result of my PhD thesis. We covered an area of 33 football fields, find number plates of all the assets sitting there in less than 5 minutes using drones. And the main challenge there is just working with customers to get over the FAA regulations. Inside the warehouse, you own your airspace, so you can do whatever you want with that airspace. As soon as you go outside, the airspace is owned by the government. So it's just getting over those regulations. They've lightened now quite a bit since we started. And I think now is the right time to enter that market with our tech. But absolutely, that's on the roadmap.
Fantastic. We've come to the end, but Junji, I'm going to let you have the last word here. We're coming up on the holiday season, and that means Black Friday, Cyber Monday. What can we expect from Shift and Moonwalkers on Black Friday, Cyber Monday?
100%. Thank you, David. Dave. And yeah, so it's just 1 week, 2 weeks away, but we are launching a special deal, special discount, Cyber Monday, Black Friday deal at the moment. And we're looking to give a really favorable discount as for now, as we continue to drive the manufacturing cost, achieving economy of scales. Yeah, we're offering more than actually 30% discount during the Cyber Monday, Black Friday. So yeah, please visit our website, starting from next week. And yes, yeah, we'd love to enjoy moonwalkings.
Thank you, Sankel, Junji. You guys are awesome. Thank you for changing the world in meaningful ways, and we're looking forward to hearing more about your progress. Back to you, Chris.
Thank you.